I think the chat warm up is an important part of all of it, especially these days. Anyway, so when we last left our so what did we call last session? Terror miso? I'm not sure where the terror came from, but
You know,
it's a good bad pun anyway.
that was the best worst one I could come up with. I mean, there was terror involved in the fight with the huge stone golem thing. So
There you go.
there you go.
There you go. What I'm wondering about is, and I leave this to the group because I didn't do a love letter for anybody, which is fine. And I'm kind of curious. Well, let me put it another way. Regardless of, I guess the question is, how did the school choose to discipline you? And the other question, the slightly different way of wording that question is, do we begin with all of you back in detention again, or do we begin with all of you in the what did you call the terrible clubhouse?
The Fortress of Attitude.
The Fortress of Attitude. Do we begin with everybody in the Fortress of Attitude under a mountain of extra homework for skipping class? I am fine with either of those answers, but I like thematically speaking, what appeals most to you lot?
I want to offer you option C, where we blackmail the headmaster.
Okay, I am 100% behind that conversation because that's probably not going to go the way that Alex
Think it
intends.
is?
Yeah, I mean,
Do I get to break his desk?
if you
So
want to. I mean, you can if you want to. You could certainly confront the headmaster is entirely within bounds. God, I thought I saved the pictures of the Fortress of Attitude, but I don't think I did. Anyway, headmaster, yes.
so so this requires that Alex's search program complete, and that they have a record of the data that they were going for. And if you haven't caught up on what the search is for, it's to track down all similar past suspicious transactions involving the school, the museum, or any other similar location, based on that trail of money. In other words, what Alex wants to do is establish whether there's a pattern here. And Alex's angle, just so you know ahead of time,
Mm-hmm.
is that it's a really bad look for the school when you push money under the table, to a place so that you can basically send in some supervillains to attack a bunch of insufficiently monitored children.
Well,
Specifically,
sure.
I'm pointing out that if it's a bad look for you, if you are Hellbinder with this history, and Sergeant Surge, who is a former villain. Now, this doesn't mean anybody's going to get fired. What this means is a very bad PR story.
Yeah, it's perhaps a bad PR
So
story.
I will say that Met is totally against anything that would get Sergeant Surge in trouble. So my views about his role in the future as the martyr.
Well, it's a question of whether I really get him in trouble. The issue, what's funny about this, and I never really thought about this angle of it. I honestly wonder if the person who even put together Phoenix Academy in the first place as a thing really thought about this. They have Surge in there as the sort of the patron or the poster child for this time served kind of thing. You know, criminal who's being forced, doing this for the school and that kind of thing. But honestly, Hellbinder is 100 times more than that. I mean, dude killed like a lot of people, burned the school down with hellfire. And is now in charge of it. So he more even than Surge is really kind of like, certainly, although it's certainly not the same kind of clean slate kind of situation. Anyway,
So I guess if there's any doubt, Alex can sit there and think, is this a probable, is this a likely scenario to work?
well,
And
it certainly possibly. it's all. I kind of want to do it just because I think it kind of.
Like if it doesn't work, then we land in detention. That's the
Well,
obvious answer.
no, it's the thing. The thing is, confronting Hellbinder is not going to land you in detention. That's just on the job training. You know, confront higher authorities with your righteous fury is that's extra credit.
It's a senior class.
You know, that's just AP
No, no, no. That's
heroics.
the application to becoming a click.
Yeah, well, that's AP heroics, honestly. Um, okay, so do we want to? So again, I asked this at a meta level, and I acknowledging what Margie said. Do we want to have a thing in Hellbinder's office with, and potentially Margie or Matt rather, taking pains to steer things away from having any of the heat land on Surge, or do we back up one step from that where you guys are trying to decide what to actually do with this knowledge? With this,
I'm good either way.
I'm good with being in the office.
Okay, I vote for the office. I think Bill was kind of wanting to do the Hellbinder thing. Kiln, Mike,
I'm good.
Yeah, let's do this.
do it. Yeah, you facing off
We'll get
against
expelled. It'll be cool.
you going off against school authority. I love it.
I think it's like there's a shortage of villains to punch right now. I'll take anything I can get. You know.
So I will say, though, I don't think this will actually change the narrative at all or the approach. But what you find is there's absolutely evidence of this having happened. Not quite every semester. It's not that regular, and it's not like, set in
Does
stone.
it predate Hellbinder?
Well, see, here's the thing. The school was closed for about, I want to say 15 years or something before it was sort of reopened with Hellbinder at the helm. So, and records before then are not as easy to track down electronically. Not impossible, because, I mean, God, I don't know.
Just more time than Alex has right now.
Yeah, well, no, it's not that. It's just that, I mean, I say 15 years ago, and that's before, I mean, come on, that was 2005. It's not like there wasn't a computer record at that point. But it's a different era. And that kind of thing. You actually, Alex, and this is more of a soldier thing. There, prior to the Hellbinder thing, so there's a period of time where, especially, so you had the two founders for the school, and then they went off into the Great Blue Yonder, literally into space or whatever, and left other folks in charge. And there's definitely a period in the 80s to like mid 90s where this was definitely happening, and it was definitely being done in coordination with Aegis at the time. And they weren't especially subtle about it. Like, they would literally, like, like there's enough of a paper trail there, electronic trail, of like some of the criminals that these students ended up tussling with were literally like pulled out of a prison cell, put back in their costume, and told, we'll knock 5 years off if you go and pick a fight with these kids. Like, it was that.
It's sort of the high school Suicide Squad.
Yes, kind of. Like, we need you, and they would pick
Task Force W.
Yeah, it was like this whole thing. That doesn't seem to be and that let you swing back around to the beginning, going, okay, well, did Aegis have something to do with this? And in this case, it didn't seem to be the case. There are certainly communications and coordination and stuff between Aegis and Hellbinder, but it's not friendly. It's chill and cordial at the best of times. Largely because of history of folks that are there or not. Anyway, But it's definitely done. It's definitely prepped for ahead of time. Good look or not, but yeah, it always seems to be kind of aimed, and it's usually not seniors. It's not like a senior type of thing. It doesn't seem to be like a freshman hazing thing. It's and from what you know of the school, in a couple, let's say better than half of the cases, call it 60-70% of the cases where this has happened, whoever it happened to, those kids are experiencing success, whether they're still at the school or they're in their early years of superheroing, or they've not doing capes, but they're like sort of like super celebrities, or social justice warriors, or what have you. There are some other ones the ones that where the scenario did not go well. You literally have not heard of the kids that are involved in that were like, they haven't gone on to become anything. So, and that seems a little bit easy. Like it's a little bit too direct a correlation. Like maybe they were encouraged not to continue, or who knows? But that's they just.
Hopefully they didn't die.
Well, no, I mean the fights are pretty well documented. It's clear what happened. It just was like, Halcyon Heroes had to, Halcyon City Heroes had to, or the Heroes League had to step in, or Aegis came in, towards the end, or the villains got away, and civilian casualties were at a low, but the collateral damage was pretty high, and the school, there was a drama or whatever in the paper, and that kind of thing. So it just didn't go well, and in most cases it looks like didn't seem like the kids really handled themselves very well, or whatever. Anyway, you would quite definitely chalk yourself up in the wins column with that. Anyway, so rather than
question.
Yes, ma'am.
So if who seem to have done well in this do well, is that disproportional to the kids who haven't gone through this at all?
Like, what's the win-loss ratio?
The win-loss ratio is again that 70-80, about 70%, 70 to 75%. 1 in 4. There've been about 5 or 6 of them, and a couple of them didn't go well, and like 4 of them did. I guess that's not.
And I'm talking about the people who weren't included, weren't picked for this particular test.
That is
still have
ooh.
I want you or unfail.
I want you to roll superior. I want you to assess the situation, but I don't know if the question's on there, and I don't particularly care.
Okay.
But that is a hell of a cool question. And if you want to raise it and ask Alex, like, what's the corollary there?
Or is
to stick them on it, that's fine. But
Mom, before you roll, do one of your, or
so
do you have a move?
I'm to ponder here.
Okay.
Applied history, remember someone, investigate the timeline. I know the answer
Rolling
to this.
superior is okay.
What's that?
I mean, superior is a good stat.
Yeah, it's
so
hardly
that's
a bad roll. Yeah. I don't know if this is necessarily. I mean, it could be a future thing. It doesn't need to be. It's just it's an excellent kind of way of looking at it.
Have a level in there. Okay, let's just do a straight assess the situation.
Yeah,
then.
that sounds good to me. And I'm gonna look then. I just want to look at. I don't really think there's necessarily a question here, but. What here can I use to, sort of see the pattern, I guess, whatever, call it whatever we want. What did we get? We got a 7, which is fine. It's one question. So you're kind of the way it's like, well, is this corollary, like this was successful people, this wasn't successful people? No, there's lots of other.
Basically, it's a chi-squared.
Yeah, what it is it's not that it's not that they're like the ones who weren't involved in this weren't successful, or that there were ones that, you know, dodged being involved in this who never failed. That's not it. The pattern seems to be I'm trying to think how Met would filter this. On the ship, okay? You get people who, I mean, space does not cooperate. The ship, no matter how good it is at whatever it is that it does, you know, people need to be cognizant of all the dangers that space implies, and living in basically a tin can that will kill you if it's punctured, and everybody else. It behooves people to make sure not test to failure, not test to destruction, but certainly test to failure to make sure that, you know, if somebody's going to be made responsible for something, they can handle it. Sometimes it's obvious, and the person that is particularly talented, particularly bright, whatever, is given the responsibilities, and they handle it. But even they get some of that testing. You know, certainly that analysis, and people keep an eye on them, because the person that you think is brilliant, maybe they can't handle the pressure or whatever. You would pay yourself the compliment of saying that you more often personally fell into that heading than not, where it was like it's obvious that you're qualified for this, so we're going to give you this responsibility. But that tended to be like people who were more like still people who were like in charge at your tier, but more like in your peers, without people very high up acknowledging that you were particularly talented or anything like that. And you had people that you knew couldn't be trusted with anything more dangerous than a mop. Okay.
Okay.
But then there were the people in the middle that you didn't quite know for sure. Are they going to be?
That have potential, but you don't know how they're going to act.
Yeah. So you test them, and maybe they're going to shine, and maybe they're mop. Maybe they're mop brigade. Maybe they're catastrophically mop brigade, and it's really better to know that in a situation where
You're not even sure you want to give them a mop.
it's serious. I mean, you want to test them in a situation that's serious, but you know,
What controlled?
yeah, things are in. The people that got picked for this are the people that seem to be like they weren't the shining hero folks, and they weren't like the screw ups. They were the ones where you're like, let's put them on a field trip and see what happens. They're not. Emma's not gonna not gonna get the test because she's just not gonna get the test. Sequoia's not gonna get the test for the completely opposite reason. Okay. For whatever reason, the pattern that you're seeing is, oh, they wanted to see if we could what we'd do. They didn't know whether we'd be step up or whether we'd be mop brigade.
So from our viewpoint, the other people in the field trip,
they were just along. I mean, there was a potential there. Well, this is the not IC thing. This is just entirely a meta thing. But there was a potential there for them to all be on the playing field, basically, and sort of for you guys to step up and, you know, give commands, that kind of thing. There was a decision that was made in terms of prioritization by Roddy that meant that everybody was basically going to be largely out of the picture. I can't remember what it was now. I'd have to go back and like go through the play-by-play, but there was a point at which was like, okay, depending on how he goes right here, it's going to determine, is everybody up and in fighting fit, or are most people under rocks?
well, and I think
I
also
can't remember
that
what it was now, but
That was my starting roll.
yeah, it was just like it wasn't entirely. There was a 7, but it was like, are you going to go this way with that 7, or are you going to go this way? And the way that you went was, protect. It wasn't what I expected either, but it was like it wasn't the make sure everybody has fair warning. It was a different option. I don't remember what it was. I have to go back and look
More
at the
make
love
sure
letter.
my team is
Something
is
like that.
available.
Yeah, or something. It wasn't putting any extra pressure on them, so as a result, the pressure all landed on everybody else. Doesn't really matter. But yeah, I mean, there's a potential there. Some of the folks just came because they came along. Maybe some of the other ones that were included to see what they would do. In the timeline
ahead.
you remember, you can only imagine that this would have, in the timeline that you remember, that you somehow changed, which is creepy. You can only imagine that particular field trip would have been chalked up as a spectacular failure in the annals of Phoenix Academy in the timeline that you remember. Because like Emma burned half the building down. Nona was in a coma and a whole bunch of other horrible crap.
And Sergeant Surge wasn't there because he was under investigation for the incident in the gym from earlier.
Something. Well, no, Surge specifically didn't come because he wanted the other
But
guys.
he wasn't involved in the choosing.
Yeah.
Maybe the right people weren't there.
Sure. In any case, so that's more backstory stuff, but you guys have a pretty good picture of certainly you have a very good picture of what's going on. And if you don't mind, we can start just with sort of Hellbinder looking at this stack of evidence that's been dropped on his desk, set carefully on his desk, slid across his desk. How does Alex present this stuff?
We offer the carrot first. Alex is going to make sure that it's understood that we understand that you're not supposed to skip class, but we skip class for a very good reason. And basically, we're here to ask you for kind of ongoing permission to continue to skip class on certain days or take weekends off. And we might want to ask for a little bit of school assistance in the activities that we're talking about doing.
And I'm going to, just for the sake of properly conveying this, because body language is a thing. He's kind of like, it doesn't matter if you can see the camera or not, but he kind of just, like, he just, really?
I don't know. Having all the team points on his forehead.
Having all the team points on his forehead?
The image I'm looking at right now, there's a stack of point chits on top of the.
Oh, I don't see any team points. That's interesting. In any case, your proposal intrigues me, although understand that the two aren't necessarily connected one to the other. You didn't attend class. My teachers have a curriculum that you decided not to take. They have the right to try to catch you up because it's their responsibility to teach. They have a duty of care and education. But let's talk more about this other thing.
All right. So there's ancient temple ruins, and these ancient temple ruins might be relevant to multiple members of the group here. And it seems for not just the educational experience, but also for, honestly, the emotional comfort.
Personal development.
That these people be allowed to pursue sightings and locations of these things around the world, wherever they might be located, and that I think that we ought to, the rest of us, come along for support.
The wherever they might be located thing, his eyebrows do a Spock thing with that one, just kind of like oh really, and he's kind of peering specifically at Alex. Is this a official request?
It's a request from some students who would like to broaden their view of the world, develop their own skills and abilities, and generally take a proactive approach towards maturity and adulthood.
Well said. And I appreciate that I am dealing with the students. I don't mind dealing with students. I was wondering if it was an official request from,
I think he means ages.
yeah. Yes. Well spotted, Mr. Young. You have seen through my subterfuge. I admire the personal what's the word I'm looking for? No, not the chutzpah. The oh God, I want to say
Initiative.
Initiative. Thank you. Good God, I had agenda stuck in my head and I knew that wasn't right. I admire the initiative. I admire the plan. I am intrigued by the subject matter. I can't in good conscience, or in fact justification to the school board and the budgetary council, allocate that kind of support to it without more official standing for your group within the school. I can justify the rest of it. Your press was good last week. And anybody who, as he's going, wants to like get a sense of what he's saying and not saying, this is a delicious Pierce the Mask opportunity here to get like sort of a sense of, you know, what he's saying. Your press last week was good, and that's going to give me a lot of leverage, but I really need to be able to come back and say, this group who has decided to take a more public stance as a representative of the school, one of our clubs, who will now be referred to in this paperwork as, that gives me quite a bit more leverage than these kids who have
These kids who
apparently
have taken over a
these
converted
yeah, I was gonna say these kids who have
store
apparently
room in the
decided
basement.
yeah, these kids who have apparently decided to take like in some sort of mad live action representation of a risk game, decided to capture some territory in the school to use as their own personal base. That doesn't sell well in the cheap seats or the people.
I'm completely sympathetic, and in fact, I want to say that we will probably cost much less than $250,000 this time.
That is absolutely the case. Although, when you think about it, good PR, how can you put a price tag on that?
I totally agree, and at this point, Alex will slide the evidence over.
He will simply put that away in a drawer. It's very nicely done, and I appreciate the collation.
I got to tell you, printers can be automated to do anything these days.
It's practically magic. We do need to ensure that our academic rigor is observed, and that is going to require that we get caught back up on the work. But in the future, I can communicate to, if with proper warning in most cases, understanding that these things come up, with proper warning, so we can plan ahead, allowances can be made or plans can be made to adjust the curriculum appropriately to match this. And perhaps we can get 3 credit hours pointed in the general direction of a, oh God, what am I thinking of? Like an elective.
Self-directed study.
Yeah. A self-directed study. Classroom space is limited. I think 5 will do. There might be a couple of floating seats that, if you know, as needed or when appropriate, for some extracurricular points for students who may benefit from that. We're going to need an academic advisor. and he's got like one of his walls is he stands up and he walks over and like one of the walls is like basically the faculty pictures for the year,
Right.
like up on whatever. And he's like walking
I'm
along. He's
trying
like,
to decide if any of us actually like any of our
I think we like
teachers.
Surge.
We don't. We're not supposed to like Surge.
you can like whoever you want to like. I don't care. I think it's funny who you guys like versus the people that the other group likes or have had.
They like.
Oh, like I would like. Well, currently, basically, the authority, because that's basically oversight in the other group, is basically firing an anti-planetary weapon at the school. And they're, we're talking about the personal consequences, and they're trying to spin a narrative where Hellbinders corrupted the kids, and it's all a terrorist like cell and all this other kind of stuff to make them look bad, kind of a deal.
So what you're saying is we need to get out from this school right now because.
And we need to find a nice 75-year-old gentleman with a cell phone to
Yeah.
down in front of us.
Well, so what I was the short version of this was I was going through the list of what was being said and what was being done, and like the students are at risk, and they're like, and Hellbinders being blamed, and they're like, and also some sort of correlation between the criminal elements in the school, like Surge, and they're like, we can let him go, and they were just like absolutely willing to throw him to the
cut him loose.
Yeah, absolutely willing to cut him loose in the interest of everything.
Determine that the art teacher is evil.
Yeah. So he's kind of going along, and he goes, well, we need a student, a academic advisor for the group. And he walks over and he pauses in front of the mythology guy, ponders, nods a little bit to himself, leans back kind of towards Kiln, and it's like, just kidding. And we did something like this with Brick once. That did not go well. Would you like to approach any of the faculty and see if they'd be interested personally? Approach them personally and see if they'd be interested? He said, revising his...
I think Alex is going to turn to their team with a big thumbs up and be like, yeah. What do you guys think?
I'm actually going to make...
What are you thinking?
I'm actually going to make this contingent upon you having this conversation and seeing if you can get one of the faculty. I'm going to request that it be a faculty who is appropriately skilled for this type of situation. So let's not bring in the, James, what do they call it? Life skills? Let's not bring
FAC, Family and Consumer Science.
Yeah, let's not bring in the Family and Consumer Science advisor on this one, if it's all the same to you. She's brilliant, don't get me wrong.
I think some good cooking instructions wouldn't go wrong.
He's brilliant, don't get me wrong. Fantastic cook, excellent counselor. I don't see him doing very well if people start chucking fireballs at him.
Everyone looks at Kiln.
Yeah, everyone looks at Kiln. Yeah, Kiln. I think Kiln probably likes home ec. I mean, anyway, you get to
I think
cook.
several of us like it.
You got to cook. You got to learn to cook. Anyway, all right. So extra homework to make up.
What's Roddy taking all of this? He was hoping to get expelled.
I mean, it's time out of class.
Also,
How is Joe taking this?
Joe's sort of, his head is sort of ping-ponging between Alex and Hellbinder, and kind of his fists are clenching and unclenching with kind of little cracks, but he's not doing anything quite yet.
Gotcha.
Dusk is still intact.
We're also going to need to
Costumes. We're going to need costumes.
Yes. Oh, and we need to know what the club's name is going to be, but first of all, one moment. Thankfully, due to the one, he's like pulling open the little like a cabinet here. Thankfully, due to the wonders, and he's pulling out these little thin like shirt boxes. Thankfully, due to the wonders of science, one size does in fact fit all. So there you go.
Joe raises an eyebrow.
So these guys here, I don't know how long they're going to last in the field, but they will color shift, but the pattern itself is, if you decide you're more of a blue mood kind of group, that's fine. But
I'm sorry. We're
oh, sorry, I'm using the camera to actually show you guys stuff. So
Oh, that was the one place I wasn't looking.
so the little
Oh, there's a camera.
yeah, there's a camera. Look, page, what is it? 66 of the Unbound book. The
I am not having a belly button hole.
there's no belly button hole.
Oh, it looked like there was a cutout.
Nope, it's just shadowed.
No.
Yep, no belly button hole. It's just a full body lycra suit, which has its own private horrors. Oh, there's a good kind of another shot of them. Sort of orange and burnt umber kind of thing going on. Fire Nation colors. Somebody's peeping. One size fits y'all. Our extra credit opportunity. Indeed. Anyway, so yeah. So back to, I guess we get the best of, well, it's not detention, but back in the Fortress of Attitude with the extra homework and kind of an alternating debate between like how to find the area of a circle and randomly calling out names of different instructors or faculty members and stuff like that and debating that, Alpha.
Alex,
Before we leave Hellbinder's office,
Okay.
Joe will pause and then like slap his hand non-destructively on the edge of his desk.
And he kind of looks at you a bit quizzically, like,
And
yes.
Joe just sort of gives a sharp nod and turns and stalks out through the oversized door.
You just were really, really hoping to punch his desk, and you had to like at least do that much.
I had to at least do a token desk punch.
the desk to know how close it came.
We have somewhere on the menagerie site
The faculty
Somewhere
desk?
else?
T-shirts. Yeah, I can send it over real quick.
thanks. I was like, I'm not seeing it immediately, so
You're on
It's
thin
just-
ice, pal. There's James. Teachers of
Good
Phoenix
year.
Academy. Lovely.
On the Roll20 chat. Okay.
I know only because I, like, just had pulled it up.
I really do love that picture of Brick. I think he's great. Applied skills teacher. I think
oh,
you
I like the image for the English teacher.
Oh, she's great. Yeah, she's basically like Wonder Woman crossed with Aquaman if she was only about 22-ish. Not even. She's a recent Phoenix. Yeah, she was meant to like basically she graduated from Phoenix Academy 4 years ago, retained her identity, and then did superhero stuff for a couple years, and then this is her first year as an English teacher back at Phoenix Academy. So she's only like, what is that, 22? But otherwise, basically, Wonder Woman meets Aquaman as an English teacher. Or Wonder Woman meets Sinbad and Aquaman as an English teacher. There's a lot of like there. She was the girl's favorite in the other school, which is why I took her over with a alien psychic squid.
You're just
I have like a
that
star.
kind of giving
I
guy.
have a Starro thing going on over there. It's lovely. The art teacher.
Yeah, I thought she was a supervillain.
She's a villain.
No, she just has bad taste.
Isn't Anish Kapoor the guy who was like the ultra black guy, or am I thinking of
Yeah,
somebody?
yeah.
Yes.
There's a lot with him.
Yeah.
She has bad taste.
Oh, that's awesome. The marvels she worked with ceramics. Yeah, I like Bill's take on this. That's pretty funny. That is pretty funny. I like that. I hadn't seen that. I hadn't seen that edition, James. Well done,
As
you.
you can see, it happened almost a month ago.
I'm not saying that it wasn't entirely within the ability of me to have spotted it. I'm not saying it was a recent thing that snuck under the radar. My radar has been
Yeah.
fabulously shitty.
Just quit your job and read the forums full time.
I know, right? It's an indicator, I think, of how not busy I was at my last job. Really.
So all that
That's
said,
okay, Joyce. You have my chronic sympathy. You know.
I could stand to be a little bit less busy. I like my job, but man. Anyway, you were saying something, Bill.
I was going to invite the team to one other small event, which is that wonderful preppy pastel outfit that Aegis outfitted them with. That's going to get burned, and we can have s'mores.
I like it.
Really? Okay.
All right, now we've got to find a faculty.
I tried to hide the dress in the back of my closet, but
I am going to throw this out.
somebody found it.
He is going to keep nagging you about having something that's at least somewhat Phoenix themed. At least, you know, some sort of badge or something. This may be me throwing the gauntlet down to Mike, but to begin the great quest of costume design, but because I know that only takes a few minutes.
But
I
it'll
think
all
that-
be one
that, you know-
uniform outfit. How hard could that be?
Like
No,
the Phoenix Academy uniform, Alex is fine with. It's that thing that they sent us into the museum wearing. That's just not. Ugh.
Oh, I thought you meant the one size.
Preppy one.
I thought you were burning the one size fits all thing.
Oh no, that's useful. That's different. That's fine.
Ah, I see. Okay. I see.
And let's just be real, it gets us out of gym clothes. Generic gym clothes. So I'm
Yeah.
all for it.
Yeah, because this actually, I mean, yeah, it gets you out of the crappy gym clothes because if you're in a club, you get to use the cool clothes at gym. That makes it nicer. Serge is going to have lots to say about that preppy shift, but okay, so burning the school uniform in effigy. There's
The
other
preppy uniform.
There's all the preppy uniform. There's other or were you burning in effigy the thing that Aegis provided you for your second?
That's it.
That age is provided.
Oh, the stuff Aegis provided, except for the cool coat. There were some other faculty members that we haven't really detailed and stuff that are out there as well, to use or not use. Where did they go? I see faculty and staff here, but then they didn't really. Where are they all listed?
I'm also surprised that Roddy did not suggest immediately that the school hire Powertronic.
On like retainer.
You know, it's an idea.
Yeah, actually, no, that's it. You need to ask, come back the next day and ask if we can have a
Oh my God, he would be the
offsite faculty.
He would be. I mean, I love that because he would be so bad at it. He would be so bad at it. Surge, we already talked about. Professor Positron. Niles Berman. Two teachers in one. But I mean, I don't mind the idea. I mean, you can certainly go back and see if Hellbinder can pull something off there. with the
No, because
HHL.
remember, we have to ask. It has to come from us.
Right. So the thing where Roddy goes and asks, and then comes back and says, "Hey, he said yes. Is it okay if we use him?" Because, yeah.
The rest of the team has not been consulted on it either.
I know.
He just thought it was such a cool idea that putting words in your mouth, dear.
I will note that this reminded me that Roddy the team did have a promised visit to the HHL headquarters.
Absolutely, that's definitely on the docket. I think if I'm doing my math right, it's like this coming weekend. But I mean, there's absolutely no reason we can't fast forward to that. Certainly. But yeah, it wasn't like it wasn't like 4 days away or something like that. But it was like a week and a half or something from when that first happened. So it can absolutely.
Yes, but it's been months for us. So
Yes, I am fully well aware of that. I didn't forget about it. That's all
I
I'm
had
saying.
forgotten, which is why I said something.
That's fair. That is fair. Where did my? There it is. There we go. Anyway, I keep wandering away from the screen, so I should probably shut my video off because it's not doing anything at this point, but showing you an empty room. Anyway, so there's all of that.
Like as a player, I have been vote on the advisor. I think it's funniest if whoever does have a strong feeling about it either pick something or put up a list of a couple of suggestions. But I'll go along with anything.
I mean, who is it? What?
Surge probably couldn't be an academic advisor for like legal reasons. Like
Yes.
he's essentially kind of on a low jack at the school. He's got to kind of stay here. So not to say that there's always going to be a academic advisor going with you, but they're not going to pick somebody who, if called upon to do something away from the school, like literally can't without causing some kind of like criminal incident just by virtue of going. So that kind of rules Surge out, which is maybe a bummer for some of you. I don't know.
That's unfortunate. I was kind of hoping it would be.
Yeah, me too.
You can figure out something, but there's challenges there. Let's put it that way.
I think there'd be fun stuff with the art teacher, but I also kind of created her, so
That is fair. I mean,
That's no reason to disqualify them. I'm just going to say that.
No, not at
Yep.
all.
yes, but weigh my recommendation with that in mind.
I mean, it's going to be. First of all, I love the idea. The fact that she's like an earth person with like ceramic stuff is cool, kind of with like what's been going on there.
Yeah.
I want to see her make a pot that Kiln can't break. Just because, pottery breaking reasons. Anyway, given the picture that you picked and the love of Anish Kapoor, it's gonna be really hard for me to not have her turn evil, but I'll do my best.
I did not mean for her to be evil.
I know, but like
Of questionable taste.
given some ancient, artistic artifacts with great personal power, it's gonna be hard for me not to just have her suddenly go all Gollum. But I will resist. I'm saying it out. This is you're too young to remember the rule I had in the Amber game, which was I will say my bad idea, my terrible evil idea out loud, and therefore disqualify myself from being able to choose it. As if I say it out loud, I won't get to choose it. So it's really a gift to me and you. Anyway, So some interest in Surge. That's cool. I didn't mean to veto. I'm just saying, like, logically, there's some challenge there. Mostly one of the things I'll admit, one of the things that appeals to me about that is I want to hear the argument that gets him to agree to being an academic advisor for a superhero group,
Especially
because
the ones that wanted to call themselves surge suppressors.
yeah. Although
We need to come up with a better name.
we know off screen. That's the other thing. You do need to come up with it, and that's probably one of the comments. Is like, I don't think he's going to say yes when we keep referring to ourselves as the Surge Suppressors. And Killen's like, yes, it says on the, like, we're supposed to come up with a name. We need to come up with a better name than that.
No,
It
we
does
don't.
not strike fear into the hearts of our enemies.
Actually, I think it's more along the lines of, oh, it doesn't look good in the press either.
Killen prioritizes slightly differently than Twitter does. I think it's
Sure.
fair to say. He wants strikes fear into the heart of the enemies. Tracks on social media is not really, doesn't run parallel to that always.
Fair enough.
I mean, the menagerie is already taken, but man, that would be appropriate.
But just think about it. It would be very good promotion
Taken in
for
this world?
him to make it seem like he was like very much turning back, like turning a new leaf. Look, he's even got his own squad of kids out there doing good.
Called
mean-
the Surge Suppressors.
Yeah, they're named after him.
I mean, first of all, that's amazing. Secondly, Dave, I heard underneath everybody else actually ask a pretty good question. The menagerie probably doesn't exist in this world, and that would be kind of a funny parallel to have, like, the connection be the fact that you guys are the menagerie again. It's it's another menagerie story. It's just a
Inside
completely-
joke.
Yeah, it's a completely different menagerie. Or if an inside joke would be where that was like,
We're past, present, and future.
no, the inside joke is like later on in one of the comic panels we see the notepad where you guys were all scribbling down various superhero names, and like the menagerie is like there crossed out with notes next to it going, this is fucking terrible. Like, who would even that's the inside
it
joke
says
thing.
copyright infringement.
Yeah, Image would totally sue us. Kind of thing. Quimage. Quimage would sue us. Anyway, anyhow, I actually, Surge Suppressors is kind of terribly awesome. I gotta admit it. I want to hear this pitch where you're like, well, honestly, it almost feels like it should go in incorrect quotes, but like just the argument of like because on the one hand, it's a brilliant argument. On the other hand, it's the worst possible argument you could make. It's like, no, it's going to be great PR for you. You'll have like a super, group of young superheroes out there, like out there, like adventuring and doing good in your name. What do you mean in my name? Well, we're going to call ourselves the Surge Suppressors. Like after, like the
And
best
the Surge
Go ahead.
The Surge contemplates retirement.
Oh God. The thought process is, was prison really that bad? I mean, they said I could leave whenever I wanted to. And honestly, I could even like force the issue by just doing stuff I'm not supposed to do. It wasn't really that bad.
Where did I leave those tools?
Yeah. One more crime spree. Anyway, so that's Surge, and I nothing wrong with the art teacher either. Certainly, I'm curious. Well, never mind. Doesn't matter. Don't need to ask that question right now. Anyway,
Do
What
we
do you
want
guys
to do
think?
this discussion now, or do we want to just do it on the boards?
You can do it on the boards, but if you get close enough to decide on it, I mean, you do that scene with you do the scene with Serge to try to convince him, which would be hilarious. As it is, while you guys ponder it and so forth, I think we will let's put folks back into. I got to get the homeroom thing up. I really need to save this as a graphic so I can just make it one of the maps in the or one of the screens and
Well, it should be in your saved images in the image tab.
yeah, probably. Well, I don't know if I've ever updated it, honestly, or uploaded it actually onto the thing. I'm doing it now,
Oh,
though.
you mean the desk seating chart and everything?
Yeah, I don't think I ever actually pulled it
Honestly,
up into.
it's us. If you make it blank screen, we will just fill it in really quick.
Or I just sent it over Roll20.
Yeah, no, I've got the spreadsheet's not the thing. I just wanted to get it in here in the Roll20 on one of the screens somewhere, which is fine. I'll get it on there. It's fine.
Okay. But yeah, make a new map, move us over to it.
Right,
Watch
guys.
Watch us graffiti it up with all sorts of memes.
That's fair.
What is the playbook that has Kirby Craft?
That's the outsider.
Outsider.
Okay.
It's in the book.
That's why I was looking at the papers. The book.
Well, you should have a copy of it there somewhere, but
Doesn't.
Just thinking of taking that for my level up.
That's kind of cool.
yeah, everyone loves the Kirby Craft.
I want to feel like I want to have it be like I'm hoping it's something that she's made since she got there. Like
in her spare time.
yeah.
In
Oh,
woodshop.
from the broken microwave.
Yeah, from stuff out of the. There we go.
I can do that.
There we go. Oh, that's a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. Yikes. Whoops. Oh, the grid thing is making me sad.
Just disable it in the
Yeah.
options.
Yep. That's better. I got one here for Hunter too. Because he's annoying. There we go.
Who's the guy with him?
Anyway, I got to accumulate pictures for everybody, but there's a couple that I randomly grabbing. So in the class clubs already, like Macaron, probably. Evan, maybe. Hunter and Vic, Kid Cool, Sequoia. That's probably about it. A lot of the folk. Well, I'm not even 100% sure on all of those, to be perfectly honest. Macaron for sure. So depending on how, I mean, you guys are still trying to work out the stuff, so probably that word's not going out unless people overhear you guys arguing about like an academic advisor or something like that and just debating that kind of stuff. Um, yeah, there's a lot coming up this weekend. So there's a little bit. So what all is going on as you're coming into the homeroom is like, wait, who had pitched Roddy trying to get Powertronic to be the
I only half jokingly
half?
suggested it.
Yeah. But so there's a little bit of, we'll talk about it later. It's like, well, yeah, but we're going to be down there Saturday unless nobody wants to go. And as you're all sitting down, where we go? Evan kind of materializes over by Met's desk. Not entirely sure that I'm actually being metaphorical about that. Speaking of Saturday, I believe we have plans for Saturday. Do we still have plans for Saturday?
The pier and what is it called? Not carnival. Arcade.
Arcade, yes. It means something very different where I'm from, but yes, promenade, amusements, games, rides, the Wheel of Iron. Yes, all of that.
The last face Evan wants to be.
The Wheel of Iron, he's not going to be
Mentions a little bit.
super psyched about that one, but yes, well, is it
Loud snapping noise from the pencil in Joey's hand.
Again, clear background noise now.
How does he keep? Where does he get them all? Anyway,
He just breaks them into smaller and smaller pieces.
was it in the incorrect quotes thing where you guys were talking about like the sort of like damned if you do, damned if you don't sort of nature of being the guy who snaps pencils all the time? I think
Yep.
it was sort of that. You either do it all the time so that nobody notices when you're doing it when you're upset, but then you're the guy who, like the psycho who snaps pencils all the time, or the guy who loses his pencils and snaps pencils and loses his temper and snaps pencils all the time. Wonderful, wonderful. He seems a little bit distracted about the thing, but I don't want to say that he's going through the motions exactly, but he does seem like somewhat distracted.
Less engaging.
Well, only a skosh, and probably not for Met. It's just that certainly it's not the snapping pencils that's distracting him, but he does seem to kind of, as people are filing in, there's a bit of a reaction there from him that sort of sends him back to his seat. Certainly not scurrying, but quickly gets him back in his seat as people are sort of assembling in there.
Surely he must feel the burning pressure of Joe's eyeballs on the back of his head.
I mean, he does flash you a winning smile. Joe? Or what? How do he call you?
Because he doesn't like
Probably
single names.
Joseph. What's that? He what?
Nothing. No, I was mistaking it for somebody else.
Joe, and the big smile. Actually, he wouldn't even say it. He wouldn't say that. It'd be the
Nod.
the chin nod. The chin lift, the knowing, comradely, one fella to another chin lift. That says that says more than anything else. What's up? Anyway, you have truly arrived as the parent of a young man when in the morning at about 6:10 You hear the quiet, gentle thunder of approaching bare, pajamaed feet down the stairs, and the door bursts open into the kitchen, and he stands there frozen. Then T-poses, chin lifts at me, and says, "Sup," and then runs out of the room. And then runs. No, wait, let me pause for a second. Ninja runs out of the room, through the living room, and into the bedroom so he can cuddle with his mom. I get a sup. He tucks into bed with her for 15 minutes. Sup. While T-posing to assert dominance. Anyway.
With his jammies with bare feet.
With the Black Panther pajamas on, and I've been trying to record audio in my office with the door shut, and I've come to the conclusion that my kids don't know how to walk quietly. Like, I have to re-record stuff if they move in the basement. I'm in the second floor because they literally are a herd of elephants, each one of them.
You know, I hate to say it, but that's my cat. I mean, Nico is, I mean, you can hear wherever she is, upstairs, downstairs. She just, for being a little kitty, it's amazing the little pounds per square inch she can generate on the floor are.
She's a little muscular kitty, so it's like maximum density. You can hear when she jumps off of anything upstairs, including James's bunk bed, which
Yeah.
she'll just do from the top down to the floor, and it sounds like, oh my god, what's happening?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. They're just loud. And then they do things that are really unnecessary, like they I don't remember where we got these things. I think it was from a parade, like somebody in the parade was handing them out or something like that. But we have some miniature cowbells, and they have attached them to the lever style door handles, but on the doors between their bedrooms. So they know when they're coming, when they can't sneak up on each other. The two little ones. But they're fucking cowbells. Like, they don't need that kind of help to make noise. Like, that's massive overkill. Anyway, so yeah, Evan, what's
Does
the
anybody notice, like,
the vibe
was
in the
it
room?
somebody specific coming in?
Well, I mean, if you're thus, I think, Pierce the Mask, probably. Kind of see what's up with him. What seems to be making him?
I think we established I wouldn't have noticed. I don't know if anybody else
Oh,
noticed.
it's true. I mean, Joe certainly might have, because he would notice. He. How should I put this? He wouldn't notice. He would positively cling to any indication that Evan wasn't 100% suave all the time. So there's a.
He would absolutely love to be doing that, but he's way too focused on Evan.
So the fact that he's not at 100% Evanness, the reason
he
for
must
it
be up to something.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah. So quick vibe check around the room. Sequoia seems to be. Yeah, he's kind of like sitting, and he's talking with. No, that's not right. Vic is talking to him, and he's turned in his chair so he can, like, sort of nod, but he's totally in, like, yeah, sure, kind of mode with the conversation. What he's definitely, like, looking back towards the rest of the class. Problem child is, Paul is kind of also sort of half turned that way, sort of, or at least his body language indicates that he's listening to that conversation. Elliot is brooding with a frown on their face. Goth Witch is. Wait a minute. Did Kiln, did you save Goth Witch during the thing? Didn't you do something with
Yeah.
them?
Yeah.
Yes. Um. uh.
Not to be confused with me throwing Iliad through the
Yeah.
thing.
Definitely not to be confused with throwing. Uh. So. And the graffiti has begun. So she sits down and pokes Sink in the back of the like in on his on the back of his like right shoulder. Um, you would have sworn she just stabbed you with like a paper with like a letter opener or something. Her nails are like Catra. Like she could go through 3 inches of steel. It like legit hurt. It's impressive. Hey loser, turn around. Sink pokes you again.
Yeah.
So the museum thing, that was pretty crazy.
I know. Didn't you see? I got thrown.
Yeah. No, I didn't see that.
Good.
I was under like a pile of rocks. Um, way to give us a warning, by the way, or whatever. No heads up.
I
But,
sprinted there
you know, okay.
in
Running.
a costume.
Right. The costume.
I don't get to hover everywhere.
I mean, it's not a hover. It's I loom aerially. Anyway. She's just like her eye like it's almost like she has she's eye rolling so much like automatically it's almost like she has like an eyelid twitch because the roll is just sort of ongoing.
It almost makes you feel like it's actually rolling all her eyes rolling all the way around in her head.
Because it's just always going. So what's Kiln's deal?
Oh, Keln? Yeah, they're cool.
Yeah, cool. But they're like magic stuff? Is that the deal? Like they got like they can just summon weapons and stuff?
And like fireballs. Did you
Oh,
hear about
I didn't.
when they broke the
Right. That was a
the powder
fireball? I thought
Yeah.
it was just like it threw so I didn't hear the thing about like that was so like legit bursts of Matt, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. And now Chris, who was kind of body language was sort of like somewhat angled that direction, just gets preternaturally still when the conversation kind of takes it. And it's not like Gothwitch is being super loud about it, but it's enough to, if you're listening, to hear at least some of it. And I'm not sure if it wouldn't necessarily be I'm not sure if it would necessarily be something that Roddy would necessarily get. Alex might even notice it just because it's almost like a section of the classroom got quieter because Chris just became so still. It's noticeable from the complete lack of movement and shifting around, kind of a thing.
So is Chris one of those people who fidgets all the time, and so when it goes away, it's like all of a sudden the white noise is gone?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. I'm trying to think who she reminds me of, like who I'm thinking of when I'm thinking of her, but yeah, definitely. I mean, 4 foot tall with a giant sword, she seems like a fidgety kind of person, but she's just kind of always moving or doing stuff, and then she suddenly isn't. Um, I I love what's being drawn over Evan, even though I have no idea what's being drawn over Evan.
It's death.
It's just death. I
I
From
like
mean,
Joe.
it's
Right.
Gears being stared at with like the thunder going in the background.
it. Very nice. I like it. I like it. Um. Uh.
I love the no eyeballs.
The no eyeballs are very good. Those are some good starey eyeballs. The rain
Based off
cloud.
of the emoji, yeah, the eye one.
Yeah,
Yes.
the rain cloud over Iliad. The heart. Oh, the heart turned into a heartbreak. Oh, so sad. Um. Pollyanna makes a point of actually kind of getting up out of her, like doesn't actually sit down immediately and comes back to Joe. Um, it seems like the most it's honestly a very weird conversation because all she does is like come back and like walk back to Joe real slow and then all she does is double check that you're good for the lab, like just like she's making small talk about the lab that's coming up for the day that the teacher mentioned yesterday, which she needs to put exactly zero effort into that anyway, and B is not generally speaking a small talk person, and C doesn't really seem to be paying that much attention to Joe while she's having the thing. She just like she came back and kind of looked at you for a second and then like, right, so are you ready for the lab today? Like she kind of,
Yeah.
cool, good, yeah, it should be pretty easy. It should be pretty easy. Well, I bet we'll be done early. Anyway, cool. And then she goes, but it's almost like she found herself standing back next to your desk and was like, I need to have a reason for coming back here, so I'm going to talk about this lame thing. As established, Joe is not going to notice probably the wheres and wherefores of any of that, but unless
Yeah, whatever.
he's busy glaring at everybody. Because from Joe's angle, Sequoia is totally splitting his attention not between Vic, but disapprovingly looking at you, and like stalker staring at Met. And then Evan's there and literally, like from your point of view, flirting with the class. Not everybody in the class, just sort of collectively 20 versus 1 flirt. Which is just
Multitasking.
annoying. And even like he's even trying to be nice to you, which is he throws it like it's a burst pattern. It's a grenade of flirt. Alex, Macaron's the only one. Well, I don't know about the only one, but Macaron like responds in kind. But Macaron responds in a way that's like she doesn't take him seriously either. Exactly. But yeah, literally anybody, even Tukik kind of responds to him. I can't remember what Alex's sort of take on that guy is.
Evan,
Evan.
if you could just die in a fire, that'd be great.
That honestly, even a bigger draw, to be perfectly honest. It's the kind of thing that he responds to by trying even harder to be nice, to be charming.
Oh God, no, no.
Like I don't know. Did we establish what he looks like? Because in my mind, he's Alucard from like the Castlevania thing on Netflix, with a little bit less vampire-y, but the blonde, pretty boy with the
Yeah, that was basically
I
the
always had him
picture
sort of
that
more like
got
Lust, but okay.
you
the
had a more
picture that got uh sent around of him was kind of more like that.
more like what?
More blonde Faye-ish.
Oh yeah, for sure. I don't know if I saw that picture.
I'm looking for it now.
Brave soul. You're a brave soul. Um. So yeah, a lot of weird tensions and things going on. It's I think from Alex's point of view, like a lot of stuff that you could report on if you were particularly angry at whoever you needed to report to at Aegis. Because you could drown them in high school drama minutia right now. Which may be useful, honestly, because you could like totally be doing a
You
great
can just
job.
store that away for future use.
You could drown them in useless stuff to distract them from anything else that you wanted to.
So yeah,
So
just
keep us
tragically, I have to pay attention to all this. That's Alex's fate.
Yeah, so yeah, Roy's got a problem with Joe. Paul's like trying to pay attention to anybody other than Sync. 7 years just not comfortable with anybody. Hellblade's got sad face about Kiln, maybe. Sequoia's like, yeah, I thinks Joe's a loose cannon. Evan's flirting with everybody, but there's also actually there is one person he's definitely not flirting with, and that's remarkable just because apparently he's not flirting. There is a person on the planet he doesn't flirt with. Yeah, Macaron's just in mode. Two Kicks watching everybody. It isn't really in there.
I'm sorry. So who is he not flirting with?
I mean, would you notice? I'm not saying no. I'm just
No, never mind.
I will throw myself on this grenade and try to figure it out.
It's not hard. He is not. I want to say pointedly, but it's rather obviously. Obviously is an accurate thing. He is avoiding making any kind of eye contact whatsoever with Pollyanna.
I use her as a human shield.
What's that? Oh,
I use her as a human shield.
I need to figure out how to swap seats with Rod. And there seems to be some kind of like.
And so she literally like walked past him to get back over to my
Yeah,
desk.
and like,
Right.
and that was like probably her deliberately putting herself in his path, kind of, and forcing past him a couple of times. So like she's really kind of in his face, and he is like purposely trying not to pay attention to any of that. She is reacting to that as exactly as calmly as you would expect her to, which is to say portions of her desktop are smoking. What is her thing? She's like a shapeshifter? No.
Yeah.
Shapeshifter. We'll say portions of her desktop are splintering. No is just happy to be here, chatting with anybody. She's actually talking around Hunter to Vic about, what would it be? The re-release of Avatar on Netflix, and how awesome it is to be able to, watching everything again, and who's your favorite character, and laughing hysterically over my cabbages. That is exactly the kind. Sean has been counting the blind jokes that Toph tells.
Yeah, there's whole videos of them.
Blind joke number 7. Emma is No, she's still pissed about the whole glue thing. So she's kind of half like protective hunch. Like she's expecting something bad to happen like at any time and just generally in a bad mood. Kiln is kiln. Kid Cool's kind of above all of this. He's just kind of he's in his own thing. Yeah, so there's all of this nonsense. Going on with this. This is just basically homeroom. When it gets to today is not a gym day. You still have Surge for the same time frame, but you do end up in a classroom for this one because and it's always kind of up in the air because he teaches it's gym / applied skills, right? And sometimes that means
Just tell me he's not teaching the health class.
no. Thank you for that image. No, applied skills is what they call basically the superheroing class. So sometimes that's more gym stuff. Gym is kind of a weird amalgam stuff. Sometimes it's like actual like sort of PE stuff. More times it's like this but applied to certain like superheroing type activities. Applied skills is sometimes that kind of stuff.
Sometimes it's physics.
Sometimes it's physics. Sometimes it's somebody comes in for a trolley pop, sort of a lecture on the trolley problem kind of stuff, or the superhero equivalent of the trolley problem. Things of that nature, or even worse, Surge does it because you want to talk about a guy who's like comes preloaded with the ability to be the devil's advocate for the trolley problem. Pick a guy who was like convicted multiple times on superpowered assault, mass assault, mass destruction, thievery, felony with intent to harm, malicious graffiti. Anyway, it's an applied skills thing today, and he is the subject of today's thing is doing the work in the real world or preparing for work in the real world. I'm not sure what the title on what he would actually call the thing. It's like what would the title be? Entering the superheroic workforce. Something lame like that. That's the handout, like the photocopied 6 times, so it's nearly illegible. Handout that's like 3 sheets. So today we're going to talk about what you have to do to actually do the work. What's going to be required of that, and how that's changed in the last, since you were born, basically. Back in the day, you could basically just strap on a suit, decide you were going to do it, and you're doing it. Today, you need a media presence. Today, you need, to work on your messaging. You need support. You need your 1,000 followers on, Hero Tracker. And you need... you need to be a star on top of everything else. Yes, I can see you preening back there. I can't remember what her last name is, but he'll miss whatever for Macaron. So we've got a worksheet for you to work out. I'm going to break you up. Some of you will work out a little bit more easily. This is graded, and I expect the sheets to be filled out by the end of class. And he kind of, some of the people, anybody who's sort of unaffiliated, specifically with anything, he'll just kind of arbitrarily group them, but he puts you guys together for this. He'll put, let's see, Emma and he puts together Hot Mess, No, Problem Child, and 7 Year. Roy and, ooh, that's tricky. Roy and Two Kick. No, backing up. Roy and Macaron. Pollyanna and Kid Cool. No, Aliad. Derek, Hunter, and Vic, and Goth Witch, God help her. And I think that's most everybody. Sorry, no. Hellblade. Oh, you know what? Hellblade gets left without anybody, and this is an interesting situation. Hellblade, and it isn't who you'd figure would have ended up like. So Serge is kind of looking at his like planning sheet for this thing, and he's, everybody's kind of sorted out, and Chris is just kind of still sitting there going, Sergeant, where should I? And he's kind of looking at his sheet like, huh, well, that's, trying to figure out, and he's kind of, and you can see her almost kind of wilting a little bit just from the fact that she kind of got hung out to dry there a little bit and kind of forgotten. You can, and who would be noticing this? Well, Alex, I think, because you already kind of tracked the other stuff before. There's definitely an instinct. She specifically starts to look at and then doesn't look at Kiln or you guys necessarily. No kind of knows her way over there and says, "Don't worry, we'll take her. We don't have a real club anyway, so we'll bring you," which is both helpful and kind of like unintentionally sort of a weird thing, kind of an uncomfortable thing to say. But so everybody kind of bundles up. The worksheet is one for each person. And it's got like, I don't know if you guys see the old Champions character sheets where they had like sort of a paper doll, faceless paper doll superhero figure in the box. And it's like where you're supposed to sketch in your costume over top of the thing. But basically, it's a school form combined with the Champions character sheet. Okay.
So this is math class.
This is math class?
You obviously have not played Champions.
Oh, no. No, it's the design of the sheet. Yes. Oh, God, yes. Are you kidding? I played Champions for 2 years in college. I should have gotten credit.
And you didn't get that joke? For shame.
Well, I was thinking of it in terms of the design of the sheet. So what this thing wants is superhero identity, social media identity, anti-villain focus is how it's written down in there. Like, or anti-villain focus / cause. Okay. Team name. Of course, there's the box for costume design.
I know ahead of time half of these questions are just going to break us.
List.
So that's good.
Known affiliations or known or planned affiliations.
So, just so you know that the costume design has subcategories, for the color palette, as I'm thinking like how all the saints, have some key item that identifies them. Color palette, identifying, significant identifier.
He does hand out. He they don't have. He says, I'm not obviously going to hand out crayons or pencils to you guys because, frankly, I don't think I'd get any of them back. He hands out to each of you. You know the pens that have like 4.
Yeah.
Click, click, click.
The click, yeah, okay, but it's not that. It's so the pen is like an inch around, and it has like 20 of those ink things in it, and you have to it's only one little clicky thing that pushes the thing down, so you have to like rotate until it lines up with the right ink color, and then push down to push it down out of the pen. They're terrible, but it does give
Therefore,
you.
no one's going to steal them.
Yeah. Yeah, they're ridiculous. You couldn't put them in a pocket comfortably. They're thicker than your phones.
Yeah, he ain't getting these back.
Punishment.
Anyway,
These things are so 90s.
I mean, they are. But if you think you can't go to a Staples and buy them today, think again. Because I guarantee you can, and your kids will ask for them.
Obviously, somebody else, somebody buys them.
Not me, but yeah, they're definitely still there. Anyway, so yeah, that goes. Just leave it on black to whatever. Use your theme colors, I guess, if you really want extra credit. Use your theme colors. They're meant for indicating costume design. Those of you with any artistic talent, feel free to help Hot Mess. And she's like, "Hey!" in the back, whatever. So on and so forth. So, it's the school, it's the seating chart. And I put it up there, and then graffiti happened. Because,
Because you asked for
Well,
it.
we can't have nice things.
Because it's the team, and that's what they do. Anyway, so yeah, superhero name, affiliations, superhero team name, the placement of the sort of calling, or not, what did I say? Not calling. Supervillain / calling or whatever is vaguely placed on the sheet, so it's not clear whether you're supposed to be talking about the team or yourself, which is probably intentional. So what part of any of this gives Roddy like, is this just 100% awesome for him, or is it like it gives you flashbacks to when you were a nerd with no powers and you don't like it, or is there a particular question that you don't know what to say, or don't want to say, or you have too many answers for, or anything like that? What is Roddy's personal take on this? You have a superhero name, so that's good.
Do have a superhero name. I don't know. Like,
you've got a costume.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything that sounds in character for Roddy that you guys think, like, immediately thought of?
Oh, there's a slot for mentor.
Harsh.
Supervillain focus, anti-villain focus
It was-
/ cause.
Yeah,
Why are you
cause.
doing this?
That's a good point. That's a really good point.
So let me ask something. So we're doing this as a group.
You're doing it as a group. You're filling it out individually. Some of the questions are meant to be answered as a group. Obviously, super team, like team name. If you don't have a
No.
team, make a team.
Well, no. So I'm just asking. Did we like round the desks up?
Yes.
Or-
Oh God, yes.
Okay. Okay, so-
Absolutely.
So who is watching me write? In the why we did this category is like, to be awesome. It's just like, really, Roddy?
I think that's got to be. I mean, we have to say Met's within there because she's clearly got some sort of like morbid curiosity about like. I wonder why. I mean, I don't. Why does he do this? Although I would love to hear Met's take on why any of the group does this. But yeah, to be awesome. That's really what you write in for the cause.
Well, until somebody stops me and I have to like take the eraser to it.
Doing it in pen.
I don't follow their rules.
I think we each have our own paper, so that can stay there. You might get some
But yeah, I'm just
someone poking you and saying, "Really?"
that's what I'm wondering is who's the person who pokes Roddy is like seriously to be. Well, it's okay. Okay, all right. I have a good question for this. So Surge gives you about 10 minutes on this thing, where you guys are sort of pointedly not broaching the super team name again. Not really talking about like what are you putting in for the mentor, any of that kind of stuff. All right. Hand your sheets to the person to your right on the team. Any slots they don't have filled in yet, you fill them in for them.
Oh.
Whoever's to my right of me is getting a blank page.
And I think that Roddy's yours needs to go to Joe, right?
Oh yeah, Roddy absolutely needs to go to Joe. Thank you, Margie. That's fantastic. Joe needs
Joe's goes to. Oh crap! Joe's goes to Met.
Yeah, I think it has to. Roddy goes to Joe. Joe goes to Met. Met goes to Kiln. Kiln. Okay. So
we were talking about pork on a stick, not about the project.
So Kiln goes to Alex.
Kiln
And
goes
Alex goes to me.
and Alex
Alex
goes to Roddy.
goes to Roddy.
And Roddy probably got a lot of his filled in, just whatever, and then gets a blank sheet from Alex. Did you even put in your actual name? So like up in the top slot?
My real name's not even my real name.
Right, but did you like put in your name for like
Cool name.
for turning
Nope.
in the sheet?
Looks at Shade, looks at Alex, looks at Shade. No, that seems like you.
I mean, you have to kind of respect the rejection of schoolwork. I mean, you have to kind of respect that.
Yeah.
This is
But-
dead tree nonsense. They should just give us online forms.
If that's your biggest objection,
You're rejecting this based on the format? Okay.
Technically, Alex is
if that's your
rejecting this
biggest
because
objection, then why didn't you scan it in and create a digital form while the rest of us were working off?
I want to hear what Bill said. Technically, Alex is rejecting this for what?
because they want access to the school's forms later, and digital is the easiest way to get that.
So you don't want them to be relying too much on paper because it's going to make your job harder later?
Bingo.
Yeah, love it. It's fantastic.
So why didn't I fill anything in? Because I'm lazy. Okay, I didn't scan it because I'm lazy. There you go. So you can fill in my superhero name is Lazy Person.
Now you're dictating to Roddy what to fill in.
My villain focus is low effort villains.
No. Villain focus. People
Super-
I can punch with cool robot arms.
Super. So you fill it out largely in sort of Roddy mode of like, superpowers include cool robot
Mad Lib
arms,
version.
cool robot
Whatever
eyes,
comes to mind first.
generally cool
Mhm.
robot stuff. Aegis speed dial. I don't know if you would count that as a superpower or not.
I do.
I know you do. I'm wondering whether or not Roddy would. Like the
Aegis badge. in
Aegis badge,
Superpower.
superpowers, Aegis badge, cool robot arms, cool robot eyes.
Don't forget to include the preppy costume.
I'll burn the paper if you do.
Joe, Met got your paper.
hmm
Why is this a horrible disaster?
Because I've managed to fill in my superhero ID and my social media ID, and everything else is completely blank, except for like some vague lines scribbled around the costume template.
Like just like the very barest.
Like, do I want?
So,
Okay, I usually wear like
cargo shorts.
cargo shorts kind of a thing. Do I want kind of something
Margie, your mic.
Sorry.
It's all right.
what
I'm
would
just telling
what would big flared gloves look like? No, that looks stupid. I'll erase that. Do I need a mask? That's even more stupid. I will erase that. It's just like covered with erasures, and I'm really terrified as to what she might come up with as a costume that I might have to wear.
And Matt, you can't help but also notice that he didn't fill in like the why you're doing this thing again. Which is either raises that question or confirms
No, I'm gonna fill it in for him
okay. All right.
because it's the right thing to do.
So largely the thing. Oh, because you're going to fill it in for him because it's the right thing to do, or you're going.
I'm
Or
gonna.
that's what you
why
put
he
in
does
there.
it.
Nice. What were some of the other good bits there? Okay. Roddy's went to Joe. What was blank still? Anything? I'm asking Roddy.
I'm busy typing up my form. So
Sorry, I was distracted.
It's all
So,
right.
what was your question?
My question was, your form went to Joe. Was anything not filled in yet that would be blank for when it went to Joe?
Probably like the social media thing and like things like how do you deal with civilians or stuff like that.
Oh yeah, like what's the so social media in general, but also like your like
all of the questions that involve talking to people.
Public engagement profile or public engagement strategy.
Yeah, gotcha. And yeah, Roddy's stuff is all very much like it's because it's awesome, and it's awesome, and I'm going to be awesome, and my costume's going to look awesome. Which on the one hand, if you were like looking for weird kind of vague warning sign kind of things, probably kind of there. I don't know if Joe would have that take on it. Joe would have this take of like it's so annoying and
Of course he
unfortunately
thinks he's awesome.
yeah,
yes.
of course he thinks he's awesome, and annoyingly kind of is. So, ugh.
So Joe will fill in at the awesome one
Oh, for the social
Um,
media?
for the social media handle, and public engagement strategy. Display my unbelievable underscored 3 times awesomeness.
The sarcasm coming off of this is thick. So Roddy's kind of doing the same sort of
And I'll
take.
underline it one more time.
You go back afterwards, look at it, and like give it another underline.
Yeah.
Matt's saying it's because it's the right thing to do. Did she take a shot at a costume for Joe?
You gotta
I'm
click
getting there.
What's
the pen to a different color for the extra underline.
Yes. Yes. I'll do one in each color because that's awesome.
You're gonna do it in Roy G. Biv, in the right order.
No.
Which one? Where did Kilns go?
Hold on, I was having problems saying
Kiln went to
search
Alex.
returns.
Kiln went to Alex.
No, mine went to
You're not
Alex.
Kiln.
Yeah, I'm asking about Kiln. Oh, so
Mets went to Kiln. Kiln went to Alex.
gotcha. So Matt, what isn't done on yours? What gaps are left when it gets handed over to Kiln?
Um,
And did anybody fill in the team name?
No.
What about you, Roddy?
Oh,
yeah.
but I will. Oh, Roddy filled it in.
What did Roddy fill in?
I've been pushing Search Suppressor since day one. Roddy is going to continue to do that unless somebody talks him out of it.
I will die on this hill. So Roddy put in surge suppressors.
I will include with a little carrot. Awesome surge suppressors.
Jesus. Really kind of hitting that note. Okay. Met did not. Is that accurate?
is correct.
Okay.
I did not do that, and I did not have a social media
Presence at all.
and
want
and I started to write something under mentor, but you can't read it.
Interesting.
Legible.
Okay. All right. Roddy, did you put in Dream Mentor?
There's a P there, and it just sort of trails off.
What did you write for Alex?
Oh yeah, Mentor for Alex.
Yeah. Secret agent, ageist guy.
Okay.
Why? Wow. Mm.
There's my costume.
Oh, I gotta see. Where are you putting this? Where am I looking?
Roll 20.
Just the description. And an olive with lots of pockets.
Matt, Dragon's Gift. Fix the timeline. Why am I doing this? Fix the timeline. Tan and olive with lots of pockets. Like a.
It's definitely a jumpsuit.
Rob Liefeld had your back right until you said jumpsuit. I mean, time traveler with lots of pockets is basically his resume.
So I personally feel that I got nervous about answering questions and stuff, and without realizing it, started to instead write in my native language.
Nice.
So Alex gets this sheet that's full of these, kind of
Glyphs.
yeah, scratchy glyphs. And then when I get Mets, I realize what I've done, and I just sit there staring at it, not filling in anything.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Very
Why did-
important question. Are all the fields filled in with scratchy glyphs?
No.
What's
Okay, what's
not?
left?
Yeah.
Social media presence?
Okay,
That-
Alex is going to fill in more scratchy glyphs, copied and pasted from the other sections then.
Yeah, no. It started out like, oh, your name. That was in, that's legible, but then it gets to social media presence, and that's when Kiln's brain starts fritzing out and
That's
just
fantastic.
it
So
goes downhill from
That's
there.
left blank, so you skip on to the next thing, and on the next thing you're already kind of like, yeah, you're already kind of upset, so it just kind of goes. So social media presence is blank. Did you put something in the team name or no? Like even if it was glyph stuff.
There are some glyphs there, but they've been erased and rewritten over multiple
So
times.
you really committed to like just not being in the right mode for this. I like that. Like you were really in the zone for that. I mean, the sheet looks really cool. Not super useful. Shows things.
I added some costume bits to the Discord channel.
Oh, cool. Let me go look. Alex is completely blank. Kilns came over
Not
like
anymore.
that. Yeah. Mets was. I feel like I'm missing a handoff here, or maybe I'm not. Probably I'm not. I hadn't scrolled down far enough, and I flipped over to the wrong. Superhero identity. Lord Explosion Murder! That's probably one of my favorite episodes of My Hero Academia, honestly, is when they're like forced to come up with their superhero IDs. What's the circle thing?
That's my logo instead of the sword thing on
Oh, cool.
the calendar.
Gotcha. Oh, I see. You labeled it, the logo. How convenient. No, it's like this, like those pens, but on steroids. Man. Anyway. So as a quick mental exercise, just for the rest of just for a miserable pile of flirting. Negative points if it's search suppressors. Oh, I gotta see Kiln sheet.
Would you expect anything less?
I mean,
It is exactly that organized.
oh, that Champions character sheet, man. I do not miss that thing. I tell you what, though, I could squeeze so much out of that system. It was it positively unfair. Like it was just flat out unfair.
I actually ran campaigns in like 3 or 4 different hero systems, but never champion for whatever reason.
Oh, that point system. I could sit around and oh god, I think I figured out how to do like something like a 13 dice attack with a quarterstaff on one of my guys that cost me like a point and a half or something like that out of my 150 points that I had for my character. And 13's like a lot, I guess, whatever. Anyway. But yeah, just stupid stuff. Just ridiculous game. Anyway, ridiculous game I played for 2 years. So no excuses. Anyway, randomly, I'm going to just kind of throw this out here. Anything that you guys want to grab. The group that is Sequoia, Alliad, Pollyanna, and Macaron, which is not a club and not a group as such, came up with the superhero name of what? The group name. Sequoia, Alliad, Pollyanna, and Two Kick. Or sorry, not Two Kick, Jillian.
Macaron.
Macaron, yeah.
Oh shoot, that was Gothwitch, not Macaron.
Well, we have two people who are totally going to take the reins on that one. So it's a question of who is going to win that one, Pollyanna or Jillian.
Yeah. Well, and Sequoia is like
variable stars.
I was gonna say Outsiders, and Pollyanna pushed for that because she saw Jillian's face when it was suggested.
Yeah, and honestly, if Pollyanna wasn't there, Sequoia and Jillian would be butting heads about everything, because they're both like they have very different approaches to heroing in general, so they'd be butting heads. But luckily, Pollyanna kind of luckily for Sequoia, Pollyanna kind of grounds that out. Hunter, Vic, Kid Cool, and Hunter, Vic, Kid Cool, and Gothwitch. Is that who I did?
I think so.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. That's 3 magic, folks. What do they end up coming up with? They walk up there and Gothwitch gets handed the paper. It's like, we are
Runez. RUNEZ.
We are Runez. And then she does this long sigh with a Z. Walks back to her desk. Like she's just like it's taken all of her will to live. It was Problem Child, No, Hot Mess, and 7 Year? I feel like. No, and Chris. I missed where Two Kick ended up, but I'm not gonna worry about it. Yeah, so Hellblade got adopted by No into that, so it's Hot Mess, No, Hellblade, and 7 Year.
I think it's a Problem Child.
Oh, sorry, Problem Child and 7 Year. So they're like an extra person heavy. I'm not sure where Two Kick ended up.
That sounds like should be the Outsiders.
That sounds like the Arsonists.
They
The Juvie crew.
They also no. I think it's better that they also did the Outsiders. And as soon as they say that, Sequoia turns to Pollyanna and says, "You see, like exactly." All right, last group. Surge, motion you guys up. And superhero team name is
Push Alex up front.
Does it stay dead silence until the bell goes? Because it could totally absolutely do that.
Joe would never say the menagerie, so
yeah, fair enough.
Nobody speaks up. Alex eventually will.
What
and
does Alex say?
We can all agree that nobody wants that.
Nobody wants what? The menagerie?
No, for Alex to speak up.
Oh. I mean, only one of you actually filled out the slot, so. If you absolutely, so the question is, does somebody speak up or
Oh
does
my God!
Alex
Do
speak up?
not let Roddy speak up.
I think that would be. So, Joyce, I would say it is probably best if the bell does ring on us
Uh-huh.
before we get to answer. Also because of the time.
Yes, absolutely. So the bell rings as you guys are still waiting, and everybody kind of files out. Nobody looks particularly bummed that they didn't get to hear what your answer was going to be. Although, No kind of like cheerfully is commenting to Emma, it's like, it's okay. They probably picked the Outsiders too, and we're trying to think of something else. Like, this is what she's saying as she walks by. They probably picked the.
I also just want to say you could punish us severely by saying we're going to cut on Serge's question, and then first thing next time we have to answer the question.
This is also acceptable.
Yes, yes, that, but with a slight little extra thing. So everyone kind of files out. He goes, "You guys wait."
If Alex would have spoken up if nobody else did.
I know. You guys wait till it's, hang on for a minute. Everybody's out of the island. He goes, given the arrangement that you're working towards, you really need to sort this out. We'll begin with your answers next session or next next class.
That's super meta.
What's that?
That was super meta.
Yeah, next session. Sorry, not next
We're
session.
gonna need some more popcorn.
Next period, we'll start with your answer next period.
In other words, you guys want to be a super group?
You gotta actually be a super group.
You really gotta actually be a club. Yeah.
Yeah. And the fact that he's been brought up to speed when it's been like 2 periods and
Yeah.
probably changed the curriculum around to get to this. I like his relationship with Hellbinder. I think that's kind of works with me. Anyway, do we do end of session or do we wait on that? I don't know. Up to you guys. I think we did it last time, didn't we? I think
we did do it last time.
Oh yeah, we did it around the tiramisu. Sure. What do you guys think?
I feel like we've been through enough stress that we should bond. So, end of session.
We didn't have any dice rolling, which is fine. But
No.
Certainly there was a lot of stuff going on.
There was one.
There's one.
Matt rolled the dice.
Matt rolled the dice. Yeah. We had that a couple sessions ago with the other one where we, for some reason, like nobody rolled dice except the Nova rolled burn. And that was it.
And lived on that burn for the rest of the session.
And lived on that burn for the rest of the, sort of like eked it out for the rest of the thing. In the last one, the Nova got hit with, well, I shot her basically with the big anti-weapon from the big adult superhero group, and she moded the entire Phoenix Island and wanted the big result, like the big take a powerful blow result, got it, and then didn't lose horrible control of her powers and went with being taken out so she could play her boyfriend for the rest of the session, which was awesome. Anyway, neither here nor there, but kind of fun. She didn't know that she was going to be doing that, but I was like, well, he rescued you. He's going to be right there. So, play him. Anyway, all right. So, Joe, closer to the team, further away from the team. Wrong damage yourself. I almost go ahead.
No, I'm curious as to your input.
Well, no, I wasn't going to say anything about Joe necessarily. I was pondering the fact that I almost wanted to have Surge shift all your labels, but that might be after next session. So,
so I'm going to say closer to the team.
Okay.
And I'm going to say Met because
shocker.
She's the one that actually.
No, I'm kidding.
She's the one who got my form and actually put something fairly reasonable on it. So.
Yeah. The fact that you got so distracted by the costume that you didn't get around to why you want to do the hero thing is kind of. It's really interesting. Like you got distracted by what your image would be, got distracted from the actual heroing part, which I think is kind of meta and gorgeous. It's very good. Matt. So either clear condition or take potential, and Matt probably shifts your labels and if she is less inclined. But Matt.
I'm actually going to say more into myself. I actually took this seriously and was thinking about it.
Oh, cool. All right. That's nice. I like that.
I don't remember what the outcome of that is.
That is, you get to shift the label up, label down kind of thing.
Okay.
As you see fit. Roddy.
I'm gonna go into the image of myself.
I am awesome. I am awesome, and that is my image.
I don't think it's that, but
No,
you know.
I'm just the word awesome got thrown around a lot in reference to your form. That's what I was thinking about it.
Gotta ape Joe's answer there.
Kiln.
Ha ha
Oh my god.
Snap.
That was a horrible influence on me.
Yeah, sure. You weren't doing that before. Kiln.
I think that I'm gonna go into the image of yourself. Because
Okay.
even though it may not be legible to other people, all the stuff happening this session has made Kiln think a lot about
Why
the
are you
present
here?
and their role in it.
Yeah. Which, I mean, not to say that that was the point, because certainly I didn't have any great ulterior motive, but it was certainly the point of the faculty for choosing this stuff, is like, if you're gonna step up, if you're asking us to support you in stepping up, then then show us what you're gonna be when you step up. Yeah, exactly. Really rather the point. I also kind of like the fact that Hellbinder was like, I am 100% behind this as long as it's not Aegis asking me.
Yeah.
Which brings us. Yeah.
Telling.
To be fair, if you asked us last season, that would also be our general answer.
What's that?
I'm fine as long as it's not Aegis asking us to do it.
Yeah.
I feel that way a lot too, so I'm just saying.
Yeah. Which brings us to Alex.
I'm definitely going to say closer to Roddy for filling out an awesome sheet, and just generally making Alex feel like somebody got them.
That's pretty cool. I like it.
There we go.
I mean, that's pretty good. I like that. I mean, for whatever reason Alex had for not filling it out, like, there's a sense that, I don't want to call it imposter syndrome, but does Alex really think of themselves as a superhero?
No, absolutely not. The real deep down reason is that they are basically here to spy on other people. They're always going to feel some undercurrent of guilt for that. Any pretense to being a superhero here is kind of a sham, and they just don't like acknowledging that.
Yeah, it's not. I don't know that it's necessarily accurate to say an imposter syndrome, because you've got skills and you know you've got skills, but this kind of thing is
It's not imposter syndrome. It's just being an imposter.
Ah, yes. Yeah, I'm here, but it's not true. You know.
And sadly, superior cannot be shifted.
Aw. Did you lock that already, or is it just up at the top?
No, it's just 3. Savior, superior, and soldier are all at 3. I wonder what Alex has been doing lately.
Yeah, geez. That is.
What's the other one that's up at 3?
Superior, savior, and soldier are all at 3. Everything else is in the negative.
What is the? I was gonna say, what does that make everything else?
Oh my God.
If you want to know why Alex is such a weirdo all the time, I wonder.
Yeah. We had one of the characters in the other game is like 3, -2, 3, -1, 2, or something like that. It's just ridiculous stat spread. And I honestly, in a tribute to Concord, our Nova is seriously considering locking our mundane at 2, or -2, rather.
It's because
It's the best place for it to be.
I mean, she is so bad at it, and she constantly tries to do. There's one of them, one character who, the outsider, who I have to hand it, because this kid's like, for her to get this at kind of a meta level, it makes me just clutch my head in agony. But she is the comfort and support, like, powerhouse, because her mundane's been at 3 forever and stays that way, and she loves it that way, right? Mundane's at 3, freaks at 3, and on top of that, got Come On Lucky for the pet, and the pet's like this cuddly little penguin who gives her a bonus on comfort and support. So is just amazing at it, but isn't and this is the thing, she never ever explained that this is what she's doing, but she wanted a way of, like, how can I comfort and support in a way that shows that I really don't yet get people, like, that I'm weird but I mean well. So she keeps a page of inspirational quotes from Pinterest up on her phone. And whenever she needs to comfort and support somebody, she finds the corniest inspirational quotes from Pinterest, and that's what she says to people.
Is.
Yeah. And it's it's a thing. But yeah, people's, like, Alex's crazy stats are very much in keeping with some of the stuff that I've seen with those guys. But the other two are just as far as comfort and support goes, or mundane goes, absolute disasters. They're just terrible at
I think we can all agree Alex is just an absolute disaster in a lot of things.
it.
Fortunately, I have that soldier to kick in anytime I need, but that's also going to just make the guilt worse, because it's like, well, I'm only doing this because I have to spy on you some more.
Which is I love that take. It's just, yeah, I love the dynamic of it. It's great. There's a lot of stuff that I liked about sort of just the names of the moves and stuff in the soldier. It's evocative of stuff that I like, but you're pulling out some of the synergies of the thing, like what it says about the character when you're pulling in that soldier and using it, and how, like, mechanically it's useful, but what does it say? And that's really good stuff. It's really, really good stuff. Anyway, all right. Well, with that, I do not have to be up at 5 tomorrow, but I do have to be up at take my kid to swimming o'clock. So I'm gonna probably head out with that, guys. Thank you so much. And next time we're gonna announce teammates. And I think once we get the superhero, if this is timeline wise kind of good, I wanted to get a little bit of the classroom stuff in there, but I think we get school names down, and then maybe we do a field trip. See what happens with that school.
And
Far
for
field trip.
voting, on faculty advisor and other matters, once Dave gets the recap post up, I would suggest replying in that.
That's a good idea. Or team name, for that matter. Although, honestly, I am 100% behind Surge Suppressors. Just because they want a team name doesn't mean it has to be.
I think we owe it to the school to give them a little better, but
Yeah.
Alex won't give them much better.
We owe it to Surge to give him something better.
If you're going to convince him.
Like-
Surge's saviors.
Like, I think that everybody else, like, or not everybody else, but like Roddy and Alex would both be like Surge Suppressors, and Met would just look at them both like, no.
No.
Just, no.
I
refuse to read history books about the Surge Suppressors.
Well, I mean, he's trying to defend his reputation as well. So.
Well, and this is a question that I'm just going to pose out there and kind of have lingering out there, because I know that we've been kind of aiming that way. But with that said, and then we're just going to leave with this question. Knowing what she knows about Surge in her future history, past, whatever, what does that make her feel about the idea of him being the mentor for this?
I'm all over it. I'm good with that.
Because you can keep an eye on him?
No, because he's going to be an important person.
Ah,
And he's a positive person.
I like it. Very cool. All right. Thank you guys. Good night.